All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Tuesday, September 9th. We got a full MLB slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That is where you'll find all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, if you do want to fade me, all of that absolutely free down in the pinned comment. If you faded yesterday, yeah, you made a little bit of coin. We ended up going 3 and 4, but our smallest plays were the ones that came through. We had split a half unit, so a quarter unit on the Reds and Padres first 3 under and first 5 under. And then we had that nice plus 124 cash for Garrett Crochet against the Athletics, but ultimately all of our other plays did not come through, so that wasn't too great. We hope to do a little bit better today. Now, we haven't had a ride of the day in like 2 days. We have had a lot of football action going on, which week one of the NFL season was did not let down. Definitely exceeded expectations with some of those games. But let's get back on the Ride of the Day train today. So get that hashtag Ride of the Day down in the comments. I'll jump on board with one person's play, give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. You end up getting tracked if you win or if you lose. But if you win, we continue to roll and ride with your plays until you do lose. Build a little bit of a name for yourself. Get some rep here on the channel. If you do lose, again, you get the shout out, but no one really wants to shout out a loss, right? So get some bangers down in the comments. But all right, guys, what do you say we go ahead and dive into this slate? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Hey, there's still baseball on, guys. I know everybody's focused on NFL, but there's still some spots that we like here on today's MLB slate. Let's go ahead and jump into it. First game up, we got the Orioles taking on the Pirates. On the mound for the Orioles going to be Kyle Bradish, and it looks like Mike Burrows and Braxton Ashcraft are going to be splitting sort of the primary role here for Pittsburgh. So we'll keep an eye on that. Right now, Mike Burrows looks like he's listed as the opener and Ashcraft as the primary. But again, Mike Burrows has the ability to go 3, 4, 5 innings. So we'll just kind of see how that plays out. I believe he's actually pitched, at least 4 innings in all 3 of his last 5 outings. Kyle Bradish really, since coming back, hasn't looked all that terrible. 6 innings pitched against Boston, 4 against San Diego. They got that win against San Diego. He went 4 innings, 2 earned, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. That being said, I don't know if I love the idea of this Baltimore team laying that much juice, nearly minus 160 and counting right now. Because this Pittsburgh team really, they got swept by Milwaukee, but are we just going to forget that they took 2 of 3 against the Red Sox, swept the Dodgers right before that series? So for me, this is going to be a spot in which I say, hey, for the plus money, I guess I lean towards the Pirates. Do I have the cojones to get there myself? Not so much. I still really don't like this Pittsburgh lineup, but Ashcraft and Burrows have both been serviceable, so if this can be somewhat of a pitcher's outing and pitcher's duel, I don't mind the idea of, getting to the bullpens and having Pittsburgh's bullpen against the Orioles bullpen. I think Pittsburgh's bullpen actually might have the upper hand, so yeah, I like Pittsburgh in a low-scoring game here. Give me the under 8.5 as well, as that kind of correlates to everything that I was saying. All right, next up here, Cleveland taking on Kansas City. Now, this was one of our L's from yesterday. We rolled with Kansas City, and they ended up losing 10-2. So, top of the morning to you. Really good call from your boy there. Ryan Berger did not look all that great, and Slade Ciccone ended up pitching. I think it was did he pitch 8 innings? I believe he did. Today, we have Noah Cameron on the bump for the Royals. He's going up against Joey Cantillo. Joey Cantillo has been very, very good, but I'm sniffing a little bit of regression from him, so I'm hoping that is the case as we do lean towards the Royals today. Noah Cameron is obviously a very good pitcher. He does have that one blow-up start recently against Chicago, but I do like him in this spot against Cleveland. This is not an offense that I'm all that afraid of. I know they just went out there and scored 10 runs, but can we be realistic? Prior to that, it was 2, 3, yes, 7, 2, yes, 8, yes, 7, 4, 2, 4. Like, nothing has been consistent from them. And if you look at some of the pitchers that they got to, right? Jax, they got to, I believe, Bernardino. Like, they got to these guys that aren't traditional starters either. I think we can admit that as a Red Sox fan, they did get to Crochet, so put a little blemish on what I'm saying there, but realistically speaking, all of their games, other than, Crochet, prior to that one yesterday, were against openers or guys that aren't even supposed to be pitching deep into the games. Bernardino was like a 7th, 8th inning guy for the Red Sox, right? But nonetheless, I just think that this is a spot for the Royals to bounce back on Cameron's back. He is a lefty. This is a Cleveland team that's batting 197 last 30 days against lefties. Yes, they've been a little bit better, but still last 30 days, dead last in average, 197. OPS, they're dead last as well, and slugging, they're dead last. So hoping that we can at least see some Kansas City run support for Cameron here, but I think that he's going to pitch a fairly good game against this Cleveland squad, so I like their team total over as well. I also do like Vinny Pasquantino. He's going to see a lot of changeups. Cantino throws the changeup 33% of the time. He hits the changeup really well, so I didn't list that on the screen in the graphic, but I do think that Vinny Pasquantino could be viable today for some overs. Speaking of overs, hell of a transition. Head on over to Epic Fantasy, guys. I'll have a link down in the description as well as the pinned comment. I have just hopped on board with this app recently, and I've even had, a couple phone calls with the owner and whatnot. This is so freaking fun. Like, I'm being completely just dead serious here. It has its standard version of pick'em, right, where you pick more or less based on player set projections. The more you get correct, the more you get paid out, all that good stuff. The thing is, they have better payouts, better lines than a lot of the other apps out there, so it's really, really cool. The biggest thing that I think is, kind of sets this one apart is the Fade'em section. You can see in the graphic, you have pick'em and Fade'em. Fade'em's really cool. You can go in there and scroll through and see entries that other people have placed, users like me and you, right? And you're like, I don't know about that one. Someone put together some crazy 6-leg play. You can go in and click Fade'em and take the other side of it, and if they even get one wrong, you end up cashing it. It's a really, really, really cool feature, guys. And I think that is where a lot of the more intelligent people on the app live. So if you think you're up for that challenge, head over there, guys. You're also going to get your first deposit matched up to $50. And like I said, I've been speaking with Matt, the owner. There is a lot coming with this app down the pipeline, and I'm very, very excited to be working with them. So yeah, go test it out, guys. You've seen me on my Instagram, evpicks. All my socials will be rotating right here, posting a couple videos of the Fade'ems or even just doing the pick'ems. I think that this app is going to take over pretty soon, so go ahead and check it out. That link will be down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. Use code GUYBOSTON when signing up. You're going to get that deposit match and any promos that they throw out your way, so go ahead and check it out. That link will be down below. Go fade some people. I think that is the coolest part of the app, but obviously they have great payouts and great lines for their normal pick'em entries as well. And make sure you guys are following me on Instagram at evpicks, because I'm posting a bunch of slips, like I mentioned, for Epic Fantasy over there in short form content, so keep an eye on that. Marlins taking on the Nats. Nats won big yesterday, 15-7. They've now won 6 of their last 7 games. Don't look now, Nats are hot. They won that series against Chicago. The series before that, they swept this very Marlins team. That being said, you now have Mitchell Parker in there, who I guess you could say he had a decent outing for his standards, and I do think it was a decent outing against this Marlins team in his last start. 4 2/3, again, his standards. 7 hits, 4 runs came in, but only 2 earned, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 home run. That's pretty damn good for Mitchell Parker standards. Like, if he's allowing less than 6 earned runs, I think he's in the clear. He is going up against Yuri Perez, who honestly has kind of been struggling, and he went up against this this Washington team in the last series as well. 10 hits, 4 earned, 5 strikeouts, 0 walks, 1 home run. I think that he's due for a little bit of a bounce back. He has that slider that should be pretty good against his squad. Yes, this Washington team is pretty damn hot when it comes to scoring runs right now, and they've been really good against righties. So if you're on Washington again, sure, but I'm going to take Perez, who's had a really good season at home. .94 whip, an average against of 150, 226, I can't speak today, 26.2% K rate at home this year as well. So I like his spot. I'm going to lean towards the Marlins, or potential look at a team total under here for the Nationals. I think you're going to be getting a good number due to the fact that they have just been absolutely toasting the ball, right? But you can get right now under 4.5 for -130. Yeah, they've been crushing it, but I do think that it's going to be tough for them to get to that number today with Perez on the mound. So yeah, call me crazy. Psycho alert alarm. I'm fading an offense that has absolutely been going off, and they've scored. They've scored 10+ in 2 of their last 5 games, and they've scored 5+ in 4 of their last 5 games. They only have 1 real dud, and it was on a windy day in Chicago. Like, this offense is looking pretty legit right now, but I think we'll fade them today. Phillies taking on the Mets. This is a 1-0 game yesterday. Aaron Nola actually didn't pitch all that terrible, which is kind of crazy. Today we have Ranger Suarez on the bump, who he's been looking really, really good. In his last 4 starts, 6 2/3, 2 earned against Seattle. Went up against Washington. We just talked about how they've been actually batting pretty well. 7 innings, 11 Ks, 0 earned. Then he went up against Atlanta. 5 innings, 10 hits, I will admit that. 2 strikeouts, but only 1 earned. He got out of some jams. Then he went up against Milwaukee, another good offense. 6 innings pitched, 0 earned. So he's been looking really, really good. Sean Manaea's on the other side of things. Not so much. I wouldn't say that he's looked all that great, but he is a lefty. It's a Philadelphia team that does, compared to righties, struggle against lefties. I do think that, Ranger Suarez probably gives this team somewhat of an advantage, but they did pitch Duran, Strahm, and Robinson yesterday. We'll see if, they can hold on to the late innings. I tried to get to the Mets, but I do think that Sean Manaea has just been struggling a little bit too much. So I end up leaning towards the Phillies. I think this Mets offense can hit, though. I mean, obviously they've been hitting, not yesterday as an example, but this is an offense that I do think is gonna round and turn the corner at some point. And I've been saying that for a little while, so obviously we're getting a little late in the year, but they're, I think, 2.5 or 3 games up in that last wild card spot. They're going to want to hang on to that. Like, they can't be, this is not the time to be dropping games, right? So I do think that they're going to get to Ranger Suarez. He's probably due for a little bit of regression, so I lean slightly towards the over as well. But again, I did try to get to the Mets because I do think you have some decent value on them today at, plus 120. But Ranger Suarez, Sean Manaea, I just think that there's such an advantage there for the Phillies if you look at how they've been pitching and throw in the fact that Suarez has been really good against his Mets team historically as well. All right, next up, we're looking at the Yankees taking on the Tigers here. Yankees have Will Warren on the bump. He's going up against Casey Mize. Will Warren's been okay at home this year. I think we can give him a little bit of credit. I'm not the biggest Will Warren guy, but his numbers are drastically better at home. Casey Mize, on the other hand, numbers are honestly drastically worse on the road. He is coming off of a decent start against the Mets, but again, that was at home. Will Warren's coming off of a decent start against Houston on the road, a decent start, I think it was on the road against Chicago, the White Sox. So maybe he is starting to round into a little bit better form on the road. I'm not sure. This is definitely sort of one where I could see some value on the Tigers side of things. I think this one's closer than people might think, but I can't get to the Tigers. I think this is a spot in which the Yankees bats are able to go out there and hit Casey Mize, and even using our MLB dashboard, which, guys, by the way, if you want access to this dashboard, head over to GuyBostonSports.com. GuyBostonSports.com, right here in the members area, MLB dashboard. You can go ahead and click sign up if you don't have a membership yet. For $6.99 a month, you can get this dashboard. If you want the NFL dashboard, that's also $6.99 a month, or you can do the All Sports dashboard membership, which is $10.99 a month, meaning you're saving a couple bucks and you get access to both dashboards. This is what I want to look at, though. Casey Mize, fastball, splitter, those are the 2 main pitchers. Okay, the Yankees hitting the fastball really, really well, and the splitter, okay, middle of the pack. But the rest of his pitch arsenal, curveball, slider, sinker, all through here, these are pitches that this Yankees team hits really, really well. You could see they're hitting for power, especially against righties. I just can't seem to get to, the spot with the Tigers, even for that plus money. So give me the Yankees, paying a little bit of juice there. I don't mind the idea of the over 8.5 because, again, Will Warren, I do think is good and all that, but I don't know if I fully trust him to pitch all that well. I haven't really loved him all season long. So, yeah, maybe there's some bias there. But to me, Yankees in the over. Maybe Detroit squeezes out a few and helps that over. All right, we got Toronto taking on the Astros here. Shane Bieber on the bump for Toronto. I've also seen Jose Barrios' name out there, so I believe it's Shane Bieber. Most sites have him starting, but just keep that in mind. If it is him, I do think that that's a massive difference than Jose Barrios. But anyways, Luis Garcia is listed as a starter here for Houston. 1 start this season under his belt, and it was mediocre to say the least. I would say that this is a spot in which Toronto's offense still would be the thing that I think puts them over the top. And Shane Bieber has been really good as of late, right? I mean, he's 2-1 with a 4.15 ERA, but some of these advanced numbers, a .81 whip, a FIP of 2.74, an expected FIP of 2.03, average against 194, K rate of 32.3, and then a walk rate of 3.1. Like, I think that he's been obviously very, very good. Maybe you can argue that the earned run doesn't look all that tremendous, but that's because of his last start, right? He pitched 6 innings, 5 earned against Cincinnati, but some of his advanced numbers are really, really good. So I expect him to pitch decent against this Astros team that their offense really hasn't been all that impressive, right? I mean, in their last series here, they did have an 11-run game against Texas, but they lost that series because they had another game of 2 and another game of 3 runs scored. So this is Toronto for me, but I do think that there might be a little bit more, well, 2 ways of going about this. A little bit more safety and a little bit more value on the team total. Right now for 165, you can get their team total over 3.5. Maybe that's worth considering, right? You're paying a lot of juice, but you're paying a lot of juice for them on the money line already. So if you can get minus 165 for them to score 4 runs, don't mind that. For plus 100, you can also get them to score 5 runs. So I think that might be sort of where my eye goes. Either one of those, you can either have the safe play or, get an extra, 35 cents for them to go and score 5 runs. I don't think that that's all that crazy to think about. I mean, Luis Garcia, I think, is a decent enough pitcher, but to me, still not enough workload under his belt this year to fully trust. So Blue Jays and some form of their team total under is what I'd take a peek at. Hey guys, if you're watching right now, just want to remind you guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. Comment 16 if you made it this far in the video, pretty much 16 minutes in. And I have a little comment question of the day for you. Who do you think is taking home the World Series? I asked this question a while back, but that was kind of when the Dodgers were looking really good, and same thing like with the Yankees, right? Who, now that things have been mixed up and there seems to be a lot of parity in the league right now, who do you think is winning the World Series? I think that, I don't know if it's necessarily a sleeper play, but I think that I almost want to say my favorite right now is the Phillies. Their injuries kind of stink. If they still had Wheeler, I'd be all over it. But I think that this Phillies team has the offense and late inning bullpen to make some moves. So I think that might be who I'm looking at. Now, we don't have any futures or anything on this as of right now, but that might be where I'm starting to look at now. I already have the future because we did the future videos for the Yankees, the Mets, and the Diamondbacks at 300 to 1 or whatever it was. So don't think that that's happening. But yeah, the Phillies are, I believe, either second with the Dodgers either tied with the Dodgers or second. So I can't really call them a sleeper, but that might be my odds on look right now in terms of who I think is going to win. I'm still kind of, thinking for the futures video of the Yankees, but they've also had their struggles. Let me know in the comments who you guys think is the World Series winner this year. Braves taking on the Cubs. On the mound for the Braves is going to be Spencer Strider. I would say Spencer Strider's been, I want to say good, but realistically he wasn't. And now his last couple starts have been pretty serviceable compared to, what he was doing. Now he just went up against this Cubs team, 5 innings, 3 earned, 3 walks, just 1 strikeout. That was in Chicago. I guess he's at home now, which is probably going to help him out a little bit here. I think Spencer Strider pitches okay because this Cubs team is a team that does struggle against the fastball. And honestly, the slider, it's not exactly their best pitch either, right? So I think that he pitches okay. I'm kind of hoping that he does. Flip it over to Cade Horton, who's on the other side of things. He's actually been pretty damn good. He's got a .8 ERA over his last 5 starts here. He just pitched against this Atlanta team. 5 innings pitched, 0 earned, 6 strikeouts. So where I look here is I'm definitely all over those first 3 and first 5 unders. I think that both of those are viable today. Kind of hinging on the idea of Spencer Strider, I will admit that, but still, I do like the spot. And then just for the price here, I think that the Braves, could be a decent look. I don't know if I'm loving what we're getting out of Chicago offensively right now. They lost 4-1 yesterday. Their last few games, they've scored 3 or less runs in 4 of their last 5, and guess what? 3 of those 4, they scored 1 run. I gotta see it before I believe it in terms of this Cubs offense. It just has not been it lately. All right, White Sox taking on the Rays. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't think that this is the sexiest matchup on the board here. We have Yoendrys Gomez going up against Adrian Hauser. Adrian Hauser has really been hit or miss since, becoming a Ray here. I will say that. Former White Sox too, right? Where I'd go in this one probably is still the Rays. I think that this is obviously a team that is playing better baseball. That being said, they did really kind of just go like they were cruising, and then they just got, in his last 3 games, 1 run scored against Cleveland. The White Sox have been playing pretty well, but I don't necessarily think that the day off is going to do them all that well. I think that that's how you lose total momentum. And again, Yoendrys Gomez on the other side of things, I just have no trust in. So few things that I like here: Rays, White Sox team total under, and then Junior Caminero, his overs. I think that he matches up pretty well against this pitch mix that Yoendrys Gomez is going to throw his way. But again, not my favorite matchup. I don't know, even though we have 3 leans here in this spot, I don't know if any of those truly make their way into taking money out of our pocket and rolling with it. All right, Texas taking on the Brewers, one of our L's last night. We really did like that over, and Texas did their job, I guess, in a sense, right? Was that final score 5-0? We just needed something out of the Brewers, and we might have been walking home with a winning ticket, but ultimately 5-0 win for Texas. Our over does not hit. Today, I think I'm looking right back at what we looked at yesterday, over 7.5. There are 7.5s out there for a little bit of juice. I do like that. I think that 8 could be obviously a key number. You have Chad Patrick on the side of the Brewers here. He's going to throw a ton of cutters. That's one of Texas's best pitches to hit right now, so I really like that. And then on the flip side, you have Jack Leiter, who's going to be tossing fastball, slider, changeups, sinkers. All those pitches the Brewers should be able to hit. So both of these offenses are in position to hit the starting pitching pitch mix. So I like the idea of the over. I do lean towards the Rangers here in this spot. I just think that their offense has been something to note, and they've been playing really good baseball. Now, if someone's on the Brewers for plus money today, I really don't think that I'd sit here and be like, shame on you, how could you? But I've seen this start to move towards a pick 'em, -105, -110, that type of thing. But if you're getting plus money again for the Brewers, I think that's probably the spot to strike. But if that's come and gone on your books, then yeah, I think the Rangers, in terms of their offensive ceiling, actually could be pretty damn good, especially against Chad Patrick when Chad Patrick's on the road. All right, much like yesterday, I don't have much of a strong take on this one. We did lean towards the under yesterday, and Twins put up 12. I don't think they do that again. I like the under 9 again. I think both these offenses stink. We have Zebby Matthews on the bump for Minnesota going up against Kyle Hendricks. The problem is, don't like Zebby Matthews, and definitely don't like him on the road. And Kyle Hendricks kind of stinks as well. So caught between kind of a rock and a hard place here in terms of finding something that we might like in this one. But I do think that Zebby has a little bit more of potential here in this spot, especially with that slider and cutter. Could be pretty good against this Angels lineup. Then we see, Hendricks, who's going to throw a lot of sinkers, and it's actually a pitch that most of the guys on the Twins hit pretty well. So under 9, because I don't like either offense, but I guess Twins and maybe their offense did look pretty good yesterday. Maybe they kind of put some things together, but I would pump the brakes if you're really considering something strongly in this game, because we have a full slate. I don't think this is one that we need to force it in. Padres taking on the Reds. We did cash a couple in this one yesterday, right? We had that first 3 and the first 5 under. Both do come through, as the score was 2-0 after the first 5. And then the 6th inning, they scored some runs. So maybe we lucked out a little bit, but no, I think those are good looks. I don't mind the idea of some unders today. We have Michael King on the bump, obviously a very good pitcher, going up against Zach Littell, who just started to fall off. He was like the definition of consistency for this Red squad. Now, you'll also see I do lean Reds in this spot. Mainly because I don't necessarily love the idea of the Padres being -200 favorites, right? They won yesterday in a close one, and I think Littell can actually hold his own. So, yeah, I think this might be a decent spot. Both bullpens went pretty heavily yesterday, so I guess if you're looking at an under, maybe keep it at first 3, maybe to keep it at first 5, because, yes, that under 9, I believe we can... whatever it is, under whatever number you can get, probably gets a little dicey towards the end of the game. So yeah, under in the first 5 and first 3 are probably a little bit more viable than that full game under, but I think the Reds for plus money could be the look today. At any given moment, this Reds offense can go and get hot. They've been fairly consistent, 4+, and I believe it's 5 of their last... I want to say it's actually in 8 of their last 10 or 7 of their last 10 or something like that in terms of 4+ runs scored. And they haven't scored less than 3 in 8 straight games. So, yeah, kind of like the idea of the Reds maybe getting to Michael King, who's been off and on, right, in terms of injuries or pitching and all that. Mariners taking on the Cardinals. Liberatore on the mound going up against George Kirby. I think George Kirby's probably in the better situation here. That sinker that he throws could be fantastic. He also throws the fastball, right? Both of those pitches, the St. Louis team, second to last at hitting. So the odds here are just a little bit too crazy. If you're obviously -205, it's a low-scoring game in a pitcher's ballpark. I do lean this St. Louis team total under. It's kind of a backing of the Mariners without having to, pay that price. So I think this one's fairly priced out, but yeah, I don't love this Cardinals offense. I think the Mariners are the better team, but they're priced accordingly, right? Even yesterday, I could see a very similar game in which they won 4-2. Brian Wu just rhymed, went 6 innings, you know, and he outlasted Miles Michaelis and all that. But to me, George Kirby's probably the only thing to really focus on here in this spot. So St. Louis team total under. In terms of updated odds, what you can get for that, let's take a peek here just so I have that to give you guys. In terms of team total, wow, even under, see, this has already been priced out. I'm glad we checked. Under 3.5 right now is minus 165. I think the value's gone and away in this game. All right, we got the Giants taking on the Diamondbacks. Robbie Ray on the bump going up against Zach Gallen. Sounding the psycho alert alarm here. I kind of like the Arizona Diamondbacks. I know that Zach Gallen has not treated me well this year, but since we put him on the DMB graveyard, which, by the way, guys, we'll update you in a couple games on the DMB graveyard, some new blood over there, and I think we had Zach Gallen, Dansby Swanson, and Joe Adell in there for long enough. They came back to life, all right? I think Zach Gallen's actually turned it around since we did that. I mean, his last 3 starts, 6 innings, 1 earned, 7 Ks against Cincinnati. Went up against the Dodgers, 6 innings, 2 hits, 8 Ks, and 0 earned. Then he went up against Texas. Texas was playing really well at that time, right? 6 innings, 4 hits, 5 Ks, 0 earned. Robbie Ray's quite the opposite. He was obviously having a really good year. He's kind of come back down to earth a little bit. Zach Gallen already has a start against the San Francisco team, 7 innings, 10 Ks, 1 earned. I sounded the psycho alert alarm. Give me the Diamondbacks. Now, I'll give Robbie Ray his credit and his dues here that I think that he could pitch fairly well. So I'm going to lean towards that first 5 under 4.5. The thing that concerns me here is that you do have a Diamondbacks team that hits lefties really well. Robbie Ray throwing with the left hand, right? You also have a Giants team that seems to be hitting righties fairly well. Zach Gallen throwing with the right hand. So maybe that gets a little bit dicey, but yeah, my man Zach Gallen, I think, is going to bounce or keep bouncing in the right direction, and hopefully Robbie Ray bounces back a little bit to get us to an under here. But Diamondbacks at this current price, I do think is honestly the valuable side. I think this is more of a 50-50 game than they're getting credit for, and they're plus 130 right now, plus 130. All right, A's taking on the Red Sox. What a good look last night. A lot of people in the comments don't like when I lean towards Red Sox because I am a big Red Sox fan, and you're probably right for the most part, right, that these are biased plays or something like that. I get it. But we've actually been profitable taking the Red Sox, their team total over, their money lines, or backing Carrot Crochet in the first 3 innings against some other teams, him shouting out the first 3 innings. So numbers are numbers. We're profitable doing that. And a couple of you guys in the comments are like, I hate when you bet the Red Sox and, it's a fan pick. It's like, yeah, it is. Maybe we've stumbled into some luck there, but it's been working this year, okay? Obviously, we've taken some real bad Red Sox losses. Do not get me wrong here. I'm not trying to act like that's not the case. Today we have on the mound Jeffrey Springs. He is a lefty. That's important to note. This Red Sox team that was crushing lefties at the beginning of the year, not so much anymore. They're actually like a bottom 5 lineup last 30 days against lefties. Dustin May is on the other side of things, and while I think, he's I'll say it, a bad pitcher, the slider could be okay for him today for the most part to get him out of jams. You can see he throws the slider a ton. Really bad pitch for the Athletics to hit. So in this spot, I do still lean towards the Red Sox. And you might think, yeah, it's a little bit biased, but realistically what I'm looking at is the fact that if we get past Dustin May and Jeffrey Springs, massive advantage to the Red Sox, who have the 3rd best ERA as a total bullpen this season and the 6th best whip compared to the 4th worst ERA and the 6th worst whip for the A's. So yeah, if we can get to the later innings, I think the Red Sox score. Now you also see I lean towards the over 10.5. Why is that? Because I don't really think Dustin May is all that fantastic. Yes, the slider might get him out of jams, but how many jams can you account for that you don't get out of, right? I think that this Athletics lineup obviously is good, and they scored 0 runs yesterday. That really hasn't been their MO this season. At home, they've been averaging 4.5 runs per game, and they averaged, even including, I believe this includes that. Hopefully, we ran the numbers and updated it. I think it does because they had the 17-run game. Even with that 0-run game, so obviously you have both ends, a 0 and a 17 kind of X each other out. Their last 3 games here, 6.7 runs per game. I think that this Athletics lineup is something that people slept on, including myself. I think that they can get to Dustin May slightly. I'm just hoping that the Red Sox can get to, Jeffrey Springs a little bit more, because I don't mind that over. And it's not biased. Again, that Red Sox play is totally based on the bullpen, not on my fandom. Maybe a little bit of my fandom. We'll see. All right, Dodgers taking on the Rockies. Now, DMB Graveyard is updated. So like I said, Zach Gallen, Joe Adell, and Dansby Swanson, all off of that. They've been on it for like over a month. There's one team that really has been doing us dirty, and it is the Dodgers. They are the front and center headstone there, and the only team at this point in the year that is truly in the DMB graveyard. Now, we have gotten a couple questions of, like, if it's the graveyard, how do they come back to life? Hey, we're having fun here on the channel, right? Those guys came back to life. So realistically, yeah, we probably should keep guys in the DMB graveyard when they go there, but you know what? Like I said, it's a fantasy world here, and I make the rules. So those guys, zombies, came back to life. Dodgers, the only team in there. So I'm not going to be rolling with them, but I do still think them against the Rockies here today, they're probably worth some sort of a parlay piece. You got Armand Marquez on the bump. He's actually, it's weird. If you look at his numbers, you're like, wow, he looks so bad. He's been a little bit better lately, including that start against San Francisco in which he went 5-4, because at the beginning of the year, this guy, like, literally would let up 8 runs having his morning cup of coffee. You know what I mean? Now, Emmett Sheehan's on the other side of things. I don't know how much I totally love him, so I did kind of consider the idea of an over here as well, but 9 runs is asking for a lot, especially because his Dodgers team isn't fully hitting either. So only thing I can get to would be Dodgers money line and some sort of a parlay, and even that's asking for it. I mean, it's weird what this Dodgers team has become, but at least Emmett Sheehan's been really good at home, so I think that's the spot. That way they can even win like yesterday, what was that final score? It was like 3-1. If Emmett Sheehan pitches well, they can win a 3-1 game. Imagine if we had the over yesterday, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's all for today, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Really do appreciate it. And again, let me know in the comments who you guys think is going to win the World Series. As much as it pains me as a Red Sox fan, I'm kind of pulling in terms of our plays, our future plays for the channel for the Yanks. That'd be nice. But I think the Phillies team, man, I think that they're kind of comprised. Those injury setbacks stink, but they're comprised to be like a contender in any game. So that's where my mind's at. I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.